The season is more than 4 months away, but the Rams already have a target on their back? That's next on Locked on Rams.
You are Locked on Rams, your daily Los Angeles Rams podcast. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked on Rams your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and of course, part of the Locked on Podcast Network. My name is Travis Rogers. Thanks for checking out the pod. If you are a regular, welcome back. If you are a newbie, go ahead and click that subscribe button on your podcast feed so you get your Locked on Rams, your team every single day. You can also check us out on YouTube. Our Locked on Rams YouTube channel is a great way to consume the podcast as well. I not only host Locked on Rams, but I also host the Rams pre- and post-game show on their flagship station, ESPN 710, as well as hosting Travis and Sliwa, which takes place every Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. You're going to want to check that out as well. Okay, so got a good one scheduled for you today. Sean McVay says that he's going to treat Robert Rochell like a rookie coming into this season. That's interesting to me. I think that puts a little bit of pressure on him to maybe, kind of grab that starting spot. That's coming up in just a little bit. And if you heard the expression steel sharpens steel, the Rams certainly have. That's coming up in just a little bit as well. But let's get right into it about the target that's on the Rams' back, apparently. And not a huge surprise, right? Because when you are the defending Super Bowl champion, when you are one of the favorites to go back to the Super Bowl again, everybody's going to be coming for you. Everybody's going to be making sure that they have their absolute best for you on that day, right? The Rams, like we talked about, Rams have 6 primetime games. Now, I know what we're talking about. It's, Christmas is not a primetime game. Yes, it is. There's only 3 games played that day. The Rams are playing one of them against a very good Denver Broncos team. That's a primetime game. You've got a couple of Mondays. You've got a Sunday. You got a couple of Thursdays along the way. Rams are going to get a ton of attention, and everybody wants to beat the defending Super Bowl champs. But I think it's particularly interesting that Devin White from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers has already said, yeah, we want to come and get the Rams. I have always had that game circled. We've never beat them in the playoffs. I definitely know we've never beat them in the regular season. There was a perfect time to beat them last year when it really, really mattered. Well, he's not wrong, right? Devin White is spot on. The Rams have never lost to the Buccaneers with Tom Brady as their quarterback, which is weird to say, right? Tom Brady, let me rephrase. Tom Brady's not one of anything. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. And plays like it just about every single time he goes out there. Now the Rams have kind of had his number, and I don't know if it's a Sean McVay thing. I don't know if it's just good luck. I don't know if the Rams have had good days and Tom Brady's been slightly less than on any given moment. But you go back 2 seasons ago, the Rams go into Tampa on a Monday night. This is a Jared Goff performance, and the Rams win in Tampa with Jared Goff as their quarterback. And it was one of those, okay, they're like, if they can win on the road against a good team like that, we'll see what they can do. And it was a nice win. Obviously Tampa goes on to win the Super Bowl that season. So Tampa, obviously a very good team. And then last year they play him twice. Tom Brady comes to LA, plays at SoFi Stadium. We got to see him against the Rams in town, and the Rams beat the Bucs up. The Rams really took care of business there at SoFi. And it was kind of one of those, okay, well, they beat the Bears opening week. And all of a sudden, okay, we've got to get Tampa. We're going to get Tampa. Here comes Tom Brady. And that was the moment you realized, all right, the Rams might be really, really good. And they turn around and they lose the next week to Arizona. But that's beside the point. They beat Tom Brady again. Now we all know what happens after that, right? The playoffs start. The Rams fall from the 2nd seed in the NFC all the way down to the 4th seed, which means now you got to go on the road again. Now you're going to have to go play the number 2 seed Tampa Bay Bucs in their stadium, and then maybe you got to go play in Green Bay after that. We know how it played out with Green Bay and San Francisco. Ultimately, it comes back to LA. But when you go into Tampa in the playoffs with Tom Brady, not an easy putt. And not only was it that, but you had to go in there and you got off to a great start, and then all hell broke loose in the second half, right? The love of the game route pulls the game out of the fire. You end up winning. But Tom Brady started to do what he does in the second half, where they took a big deficit, and the next thing you know, they're in a dogfight and they've tied the game. And the Rams are hemorrhaging momentum. They're just absolutely coming unglued. You can kind of say it with a little bit, excuse me, a little bit of a laugh in your voice in the moment, because it was, we know the result, right? We know how it ended up, but it was terrifying in the moment. And then Kupp catches the long pass, they kick the field goal, they win, and we all know happily ever after. The point of all of this is the Buccaneers have feelings about the Rams. The Buccaneers, and by the way, this is just not some team that was on the wrong end of a tough beat. This is a team that has Super Bowl aspirations. This is a team that knows that the Super Bowl berth in the NFC runs through Los Angeles, at least at the start of the season. Maybe it'll be different by week 8 or 10 or 12 or whatever it is. But at the start of the season, it goes through LA. LA's bringing back their most important components. LA has beaten Tampa 3 times in a row. LA is the defending Super Bowl champ. And that's the point that I think that I think the Rams are fully aware. Sean McVay's a smart guy. Matthew Stafford and Aaron Donald are smart guys. They understand how this works. They understand that they've been the hunter for their entire careers, and now they're the hunted. And whether it's Devin White or anybody else or Aaron Rodgers, you don't think that Aaron Rodgers say, okay, look, I'm getting near the end of the line. I know that I need to get to at least another Super Bowl, win another Super Bowl. If I want to be on a level with the all-time greats, and Aaron Rodgers statistically is an all-time great in the arm talent, the accuracy, sure, we know how good he is. But he's been to 1 Super Bowl. Now, they won, and he was really good in it, but Matthew Stafford's been to 1, and he won it. Patrick Mahomes has already been to more than 1. He's got 1. You look, Jared Goff has been to 1. Matt Ryan's been to 1. Jimmy Garoppolo's been to 1. Now, these guys lost it. Nick Foles has a Super Bowl win. One, it's not easy, and I don't mean to throw cold water on it, but 1 happens. More than 1 is a totally different thing. So he's going to be coming with everything he's got when they play the Rams. And whether it's the 49ers or the Seahawks or any of the other, even the Carolina Panthers and Atlanta Falcons that they're going to play this year, they're going to bring everything they have, because beating the defending Super Bowl champions is a big deal. Much less like Devin White saying, if you haven't had any good luck against them, the Rams are going to have their hands full every single week. And this comes back to leadership. This comes back to Sean McVay. This comes back to Stafford and Aaron Donald and all of the other guys that are responsible for setting the tone. And I have faith in all these guys. But we're going to find out, because that is a big difference. Hunting and hunted, night and day. And the Rams are on the other side of it for the first time since they've come back to Los Angeles. Okay, coming up next, I want to talk about steel sharpening steel. You've heard that before. The Rams are living it every single day. Let's talk a little bit about AG1, Athletic Greens. This is the partner that I've been using now for the better part of 2 months, and I take it every single morning because, look, I wasn't feeling my best, right? I wanted to make sure that I was getting all the vitamins that I need, all the nutritional supplements that I need, and I didn't want to take a million pills, and I didn't want to eat something or take something that tasted terrible, and AG1 took care of all of this. Better gut health, more energy, optimized immune system, and just all of that pill. No, 1 scoop of AG1 into a cup of water, shake it up. Not only is it super easy, it tastes pretty good. A little tropical, a little fruity taste. I look forward to it every single morning. I'm sleeping better. I have more energy. My head is more clear. Everything about it makes me just feel better. And here's the thing. You're thinking, okay, that sounds great, Trav, but is it expensive? Now, let me ask you this. You get a cup of coffee every day, it costs you less than $3 a day. That is cheaper than you going and buying your coffee every day. And you're investing in your health. $3 a day to invest in your health. You're never going to find a better deal than that. AG1 Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews, mine among them. And right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. It's just 1 scoop, like I mentioned, into a cup of water every day. Pop up, make it, drink it, you're going to feel Great. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. Making it even easier, AG is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/NFL network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NFL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. Thanks again for making Locked On Rams your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast, the biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Allen Robinson on yesterday's pod. Make sure that you take care of that. Click that subscribe button so you hit it every single day. But we were talking about the opportunities that he has in this offense with Cooper Kupp and with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford being the best quarterback he's ever played with. So this is good news. The other thing that he has, and in his case, he has again, because they were teammates in Jacksonville, is the chance to go up against Jalen Ramsey at practice every single day. And he said to my pal DeMarco Farr, I'm looking forward to it for sure, always. We had some great training camp battles over the years in Jacksonville. So being able to bring that element here, I think there's nothing better than to be able to have those challenges in training camp before the season. When you're going up against guys like Jalen and some of the guys we have on defense and our defensive structure, once you get to the season, playing against guys, you've seen a lot of these things before. You've seen hard press coverages on third down backside. You've seen all that camp. So once you get to see those things, you take them and kind of learn from them, and you get into the season, fine tune some other things. Okay, so that's Allen Robinson talking specifically about going up against Jalen Ramsey in camp. And great, right? I mean, think about how good you would get if you're going up against the very best at the business every single day in practice. Or he could give you some secret. Hey, look, you're doing this, and I know you're doing this because you do that. The little things that maybe you can't pick up on yourself, can't self-scout yourself. He can tell you and make you a better player along the way. And you've heard this before, right? Steel sharpens steel. What it means is, in most simple, is that you get better by going up against the very best. Just going up against some guy that's a plugger, going up against some sparring partner that's just there to let you kick his butt doesn't really make you all that better. You go up against the best, you get better. That's what Jalen Ramsey is. By the way, Jalen Ramsey is going to get better going up against Allen Robinson every day in practice. And it got me to thinking, excuse me, think about all the steel versus steel matchups that the Rams get to do every day. Think about how beneficial it is for Matthew Stafford to have to get ready to play when he has to deal with Aaron Donald at practice, when he has to deal with Aaron Donald in training camp, blowing things up the way that he can. I got to get rid of this because Aaron Donald's going to be back here in a second. How much better can Matthew Stafford get going up against Jalen Ramsey in practice every single day? Okay, I can't do that against a player like that. That's not going to work. Or, yeah, maybe, you know what? You know how I can get a guy like that to move maybe one step the wrong way that I need him to do, and then all of a sudden it's open on the other side? I can do this. Just those little battles. And think about how many of those battles that the Rams have. Think about how much better Joe Noteboom is going to be. Think about how much better whoever ends up getting that other guard spot now that Austin Corbett's gone, whether it's Shelton or whether it's Bruce or any of these guys that slide in there, that you got to deal with Aaron Donald at practice on a regular basis. How quickly are you going to improve? You're going to find out real quick whether or not you can play in this league. Now, Aaron Donald, you're not going to see that during the regular season, but if you can at least survive against a guy like that, if you can at least hold your own, what are you going to do against a normal person, a normal human being, just a regular NFL player? You're going to do all right. And those matchups are everywhere, right? Cooper Kupp. I'm David Long Jr., or I'm Robert Rochell, or I'm one of these guys trying to get ready to earn a job, and I got to deal with Cooper Kupp or Allen Robinson every single day at camp, at OTAs, at practice. Good luck. Good luck with that, because you're going to get better day after day after day having to go against a player like that. And the matchups are everywhere, right? I mean, think the guys that they're bringing in, the specifically in the secondary, right? They spent a ton of guys. They spent 4 of their 8 draft picks on defensive backs, right? 2 safeties, 2 corners. They made a trade for Troy Hill. You've got some very green guys in David Long and Robert Rochell at that position. And I got to go and cover Cooper Kupp. No, I got to go get Allen Robinson. Even Van Jefferson. This is a guy that's been in the league now for a couple of years and had some success along the way. I got to match up with these guys every single day. You better bring it. You better be ready to go when you walk into that facility and it's time to practice and it's time to work out. And because look, what do we know about Cooper Kupp? What do we know about Matthew Stafford? What do we know about all these guys are grinders? They are absolute perfectionists in what it is that they do. And they will turn you inside out. And they're going to work to try to find opportunities for themselves. And they're going to be picking you apart. And you better buckle up and you better be ready for it, because if you're not going to look very good. You're not going to get a chance to play. And now the next thing you know, maybe you're down the road because you couldn't hang with some of the best in the business. Aaron Donald is going to make everybody on that offensive line better. He's going to make every throw that Matthew Stafford is like, I know that Aaron Donald, how quickly he gets here. If I can get it out before he gets here, I can get it out before anybody gets here. Jalen Ramsey going up against great players going up against Jalen Ramsey. These are the other, when Allen Robinson's talking, when I read that quote, it made me think, oh my gosh, he's right. And this is not just, it's not just an Allen Robinson, Jalen. What if OBJ comes back? Now all of a sudden, OBJ, you got an opportunity for him to work against your defense. Your defense is going to get better. Odell's going to get a little better working against a high caliber defense like that. It's win-win-win across the board, and an incredible opportunity. And another thing that the Rams have kind of built themselves into a position of success with. Competition. You know, I'll bring it way back, and people here in LA will certainly remember this. One of the reasons that USC, when they had the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart, Lendell White era, right, that incredible run that USC football had, is with the daily competition in practice, right? Carson Palmer wins the Heisman Trophy, and then Matt Leinart steps in. No one's ever heard of him, and then he wins the Heisman. It's just one guy after the next that you know that I got to show up at practice every single day, or the guy that's right behind me, he's this much behind me. I better bring it, because if I don't, the next guy's going to go in. Rams, you know, obviously it's a little different in pro sports because there isn't quite the depth, but you better bring it every day or you're not going to last very long. It's a great opportunity for the Rams. Love that Allen Robinson brought that up. Speaking of one of the guys that I just mentioned, Robert Rochell, why does Sean McVay look at him as a rookie? That's coming up next. So coming into the 2022 season, coming into the title defense season, one of the big areas of emphasis that the Rams have was we got to get a little bit better at cornerback. We got a little bit better. We need to get a little bit better in the secondary. You got Jalen Ramsey on one side, but Darius Williams leaves, and that opened up some opportunities and created a vacancy at the other corner. Darius Williams played, really well for the Rams a couple of seasons ago, and okay last year. I mean, obviously good enough for them to win the Super Bowl, so certainly contributed in a meaningful way, but there's an opportunity there now. And we've talked a lot, whether it's Jacoby Durant or whether it's Troy Hill coming in. He's probably going to start in that slot position, and they made a deal there. And you've got David Long Jr. And then, of course, you have Robert Rochell, who was drafted last year as a project, maybe not somebody that you thought was going to play a whole lot for them as a rookie, and ended up starting 5 games, ended up playing in 11 games for them before he got hurt along the way. So it's kind of interesting to me that you hear Sean McVay say that he's thinking of him coming into this year as kind of his rookie season when he played as much as he did. I'll say it again. He started 5 games. He played in 11. That doesn't sound much like a rookie to me, but here's what Sean McVay had to say about it. I look at Robert Rochell in a lot of instances as a rookie because he did some really good things, but I don't think anybody understands all the things he was pushing through, whether it's the wrist injury. He ended up having the lung rib type of deal. He's a guy that made a great play on 7-7 today. You can see the communication in that meeting room with Chris Shula, Jonathan Cooley, and Raheem and Lance Schulters has been excellent. Being able to identify some of those younger guys, they fit the mold, and looking forward to seeing those guys continue to evolve for us on the back end. Okay. So a little bit of compliment, right? Hey, look, he not only did he play for us, but he played through a rib injury. He had a wrist injury, still started 5 games, and you saw him at 7-7 today. But he's got an opportunity to really do some things for us. He's communicating really well with the coaching staff. Okay, great. That's nice. But let me ask you this. When you hear somebody call somebody a rookie, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I think it kind of cuts both ways, but I think it's more, I don't know about you, than it is, hey, I'm really excited to try to mold you into a thing, right? Because when I hear rookie, it means inexperienced, it means green, it means maybe susceptible to being taken advantage of. It doesn't, 5 starts is 5 starts. That's not nothing. And I think if I'm reading between the lines, and I think Robert Rochell has a really good chance to get that job. I think David Long Jr. has a chance to get that job. I think Robert Rochell was getting ready to take that job full time until he got hurt, and then Williams comes back and he started to play a little better. I think he's the best player of that group. I think that he's got probably the inside track to get it. I know you hear a lot about David Long, but I'm telling you, I think that Rochell is probably the guy that's got at least the first opportunity to win that job. And I think that's what McVay's getting at. Hey, look, I know that you've played 5 games, started 5 games. I know that you played in 11. I know that you played well. I know that you were really close to maybe locking that job up for good, but I need you to bust your ass. I need you to make sure that you're ready to go every single day in this upcoming season, because I got these other guys and we're trying to do this again. And we need to make sure that everybody's ready. Just because you played 5 games doesn't mean that all of a sudden you've got a little gray in your beard. Don't look at me. It's a optical illusion. Mine's fine. Doesn't mean that you've got this thing locked up. And I don't know Robert Rochell, and I don't know how his personality is and how this works, but young players, oh, I got this, as opposed to, oh, I got to go back to work. And if I were not a rookie and I had played as much as Robert Rochell had, and I heard my head coach say, yeah, I'm looking at him as like a rookie, I'd be like, what? Oh, guess I better go. Guess I better get to work. I guess I better figure this thing out. That's how I would look at it. And I hope that's how he looks at it. And I hope that motivates him, because I really believe that he's got the inside track for this. I think that he's the guy that played best at that position last year among the guys that are coming back. We'll see how the other guys that they drafted perform. Like we said, 2 DBs, 2 safeties. There's going to be opportunities for other guys to get on that field, especially in training camp, and especially once we get into the exhibition season. I think it'll be interesting. I think we'll have a really good idea of whether or not Rochell is going to be the starter there, whether or not he plays in the preseason. Sean McVay doesn't play his guys in the preseason, not the guys that he knows he's going to use during the regular season. So if we see him a lot, means he's still competing. If we don't see him a lot in the exhibition season, means he's probably got it at least at the beginning. We'll see. The last several years, the Rams in the secondary, other than Jalen Ramsey, and of course, when you have Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters and those guys, that's a different animal. Those guys are made guys in the league. But we've seen guys that were not a part of what they were trying to do all of a sudden become star. John Johnson's a great example, who's now in Cleveland, who's a fantastic guy. He all of a sudden, 4th round draft pick out of Boston College. Next thing you know, he's starting halfway through his rookie year and becomes an incredibly important part of what they do. They will give you opportunities. Like I said, Rochell was very close to grabbing that job. The opposite is true too. If you don't perform, they're going to bring somebody else in. They're going to put somebody else in that spot. And the Rams have shown that they are more than willing to make trades and moves if they think it's going to help them in the short term. They are willing to make bold moves. So buckle up and be ready to go. Not rookie Robert Rochell. All right, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. We'll be back with more Locked On Rams next week. Thanks for making your first listen every single day. Now for your second listen, you know how to do it. The Locked On NFL podcast, our national NFL experts and insiders keeping fans dialed in with the biggest stories and the latest news from around the league, because an off season doesn't equal a break in the action. Follow Locked On NFL every day on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, whose house? It's Locked On Rams house.